Hello, 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 hello out there. I'm going to give it a few minutes to see who joins me on the call tonight. But I just want to introduce myself. Hi out there. I am Cherise Stewart, Chief Travel Officer with Irgo Travel. And for those of you that don't know me or have not used my services before, I am the Chief Travel Officer of Irgo Travel, where we plan, pack, and go with Irgo Travel. And we've been in business for about a little over 5 years now. And it's just something that I love doing. I've always had a passion for travel, and in my travels, my experience, I said, you know what? I have a lot of subject matter expertise when it comes to travel. Why not share that with others out there that may be new to travel, that may not be as knowledgeable, or just may want the services that I can bring to the table with Irgo Travel. So my office is located outside of the Philadelphia area. It's currently in Ambler, PA. We did have a recent move, but I work mostly virtual. I had a call today with a client over the phone. So if you're out of state, if you're not nearby, but you're interested in using my services, feel free to reach out. My contact information is 844-985-7283 or 1-844-95-TRAVEL. You can follow me or get my information with hashtag Irgo Travel, and Irgo Travel is spelled IRGO Travel. And we do have a website. So I think we've given it a good few minutes, but in light of what has been going on throughout the world, and now that some travel restrictions are starting to lift, I guess at least for other countries outside of the U.S., I just thought that it was a great time to do the topic that we're going to be doing today or covering today, which is things that you should consider before planning your next vacation. So while a lot of the information covered will be COVID-19 specific, there are still good tips and information that you can use in everyday travel. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm going to stay focused on sharing the information, and at the end I'll try and look at some of the feeds. So just bear with me. Like I said, it's my first time, so if you've got questions or feedback coming in, I'll check it, but I just want to stay focused at the same time. All right, so it is 7:03 and I figure we'll jump right into it. So things to consider before planning your next vacation. First and foremost, you have got to be flexible. There are so many things, and I know you all watch the news. 1 week, a state within the U.S. may not be a good state to travel to if you're in the state of PA. Or if you're in New York, you may have 30 states that they're advising you, or that the state government's advising you not to go to or travel to, as well as countries overseas, whether it be the Caribbean, Europe, etc. You have to be willing to be flexible in your travel plans, and knowing that things can change, at a moment's notice. So with that, the CDC and a lot of government agencies out there are saying that right now, if you don't have to travel, they're recommending that you don't. But for people like me, it's been 5 long months. And I'm getting a little antsy. So while I have adjusted my travel style, really staying more local, I am, I do have trips planned, and I've moved trips. So that goes back to flexibility. I think I've had to change 7 different trips. I've just basically been pushing them back or pushing them out as far as I can. So just remember to be flexible, because things can change at a moment's notice. So moving right on along, you still want to stay safe. So even if you're going to a destination that has a low case of COVID cases that they've been experiencing, when you get there, you don't want to leave throw all caution to the wind and just abandon your safe practices. You want to keep them in place. So I think one of the first trips that I did after March was a training that was in Florida, and it was in the Tampa area. And people were like, oh my gosh, don't go. It's a lot of hot spots going on. So definitely want to take caution. But I said, well, you know what? I'm going to practice the same safety protocols that I'm doing here when I get down there. And that's what I did. So you want to keep that in mind. So with that, making sure you are masking up, face shield, bringing extra masks. So making sure that if one needs to be thrown away, you lose one, you make sure that you have extras on hand. Practicing social distancing. Of course, continuing to wash your hands. Now, this is something that you definitely may want to consider when it comes to travel, doing a pre-quarantine. So quarantining yourself anywhere from like 10 to 14 days, just to make sure that upon you getting ready to go out of town, who wants to be on a beautiful beach somewhere or vacationing, and then 4 days later or 3 or 4 days into your trip, you're not feeling well? So pre-quarantining, I think that's a good recommendation, so that prior to travel that you're feeling good and you haven't been exposed or potentially exposed to anyone that may have COVID-19 or symptoms, and possibly testing prior to travel. And that is going to bring me to the next topic, which is number 3. Depending on where you go, you may have to do pre-testing. So with that, you want to check with the destination point. So for example, I don't know how many of you have been like looking at the news and what's going on with travel and with borders opening up, but recently Jamaica made like major changes to some of their protocols if you're traveling from the US there, and basically went from a couple of states, so for example New York, to the state of US, indicating that they wanted to now have negative tests that you have to load or preload to a portal, to their tourism board portal, and submit that you have negative COVID-19 test results. You couldn't even board your plane until they gave you some sort of acknowledgement. And then you also have to do a pre-arrival authorization form as well. So things like that you definitely want to keep in mind. Definitely check with the local agency. And then prior to leaving, you want to make sure that you're going to be good. Excuse me, I had to turn off the AC here so that you could hear me well. You also want to check with your place of departure to ensure that you're going to be adhering to whatever the re-entry requirements are for your state, city, or municipality. So upon arrival or returning back to home, you may have to then quarantine or do a recommended or advised quarantine. So getting back to Jamaica, I just want to read an excerpt that you could find on their travel tourism page. And it states all residents of the United States of America, Brazil, Dominican Republic, or Mexico, so it does vary by the location or country that you're visiting from, who are 12 years of age or over with travel dates of August 20th or later. Mind you, they just changed this information a few days ago. So it was a lot of places that were in a panic. Or later will be required to obtain a COVID-19 RT-PCR test. So they're being specific. The test should be conducted within 10 days of the intended travel date, so you've got to do it within that window, at a medical laboratory that is accredited by the relevant national health authorities. For the U.S., the medical laboratory should be accredited by the College of American Pathologists. The above test requirement is already in effect. So it was already in effect, but it depended upon where you were coming from. In effect for travel dates before August 20th for residents of the states of Arizona, Florida, New York, and Texas in the USA. So because of high cases there, that was already in place. And hello to everyone out there that's joining. That was already in place. So this is really, really important. You may check it at the time of booking your trip, but that could be a month out. So 2-3 weeks prior to you departing, you definitely want to make sure that there have been no travel updates. And this is actually what happened with Jamaica. They actually increased their requirements in regards to entry, and now requiring a negative test for all of the U.S. travelers. So you just want to keep that in mind, and just bear with me. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, also, so when you are returning, let's say that it's recommended or you're required to quarantine upon your return back. You just want to make sure that you've got things in place and you're prepared for that. I came back from Florida and it was advised that I stayed home for 14 days. I probably stayed home for about 7, but guess what, guys? I hadn't done any food shopping. So it got a little tough, and the meals got a little interesting after a while. All right. Because I wasn't prepared to come back and then do a 14-day self-quarantine. So that's something else that you got to keep in mind. And if you want to test upon your return. So that's something that you may want to do. You may need to do if you're a healthcare professional. I don't know. But these are all things that where we didn't really have to think about it before. These are some of the things that you really need to keep at the forefront and think about now when you're planning your travel. All right. So moving along, hotels, lodging, excursion. So in destination, where are you staying? What are their health and safety protocols? What are you going to be able to do when you arrive there? I had a trip planned to New Orleans, Louisiana, which I've pushed back again. And somebody asked me, they said, hey, why are you even going? Is there even going to be anything for you to do there? The bars aren't going to be open. There's not going to be any nightlife. Why would you even go? Well, it depends on, I guess, what you enjoy doing, where I was going to stay. They have a pool there. I love New Orleans. I've probably visited there at least 8 times now. I just feel like it's like a home away from home for me. So when I go, I usually stay in the Garden District area. And first thing in the morning, I just like going outside and walking up St. Charles and just looking at the beautiful old historic homes. That's just something that I enjoy doing. I was also planning on possibly driving to Biloxi, Mississippi for a day. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to go and just relax? If you're looking for a bunch of nightlife or excursions, you want to make sure that you may be that you're even able to do those things. So you want to get there, and you also want to know that you're having a good time. In addition to that, what do the safety protocols look like, and what may have changed since you initially booked your trip, or what should you expect? So I stayed at one hotel back in June when I was in Florida for training, and the hotel normally provided breakfast for me in the morning, or for their guests in the morning. What did they do? They had a standard breakfast, and it had to be served to you. Other hotels that I've stayed at since then, they just give you like a little pack and go, or like grab and go bag. So there is no outside open buffet that you can go and get food at, or they may not serve you like they used to be able to, or you may not be able to do like a buffet or something like that. So what amenities will be available at your resort when you go, because things may have changed. And I see somebody, oh, thank you, Imani. You're so special. You're my hero. You are my hero. She put excellent tips. Thank you. Well, I guess you guys can see it. I can't see it. All right. So keep that in mind. So be prepared when you get there that some of the things you might be able to do, you might not be able to do. Another example, I was at a hotel that had a pool. Due to social distancing requirements, you had to sign up ahead of time, and that you were limited as far as how many people could be in the pool at one time. So if you're normally at the pool all day, sipping on a slushy alcoholic beverage, mine is Dirty Banana. If you don't know me, now you know. Dirty Banana, that is my drink of choice. You may not be able to enjoy or partake in that for half of the day or all day. Something to keep in mind. I like going to the gym. Yes, I go on vacation and I like going to the gym. You would think I was in I should be able to compete in a triathlon, but I just like doing it. Last couple of gyms, once again, I had to sign up, and it was either one person or maybe at the most two people that could go into the gym at a time. So I literally had to like go down to the desk and sign up for like a 6 or 6:30 a.m. Time slot so that I could go. So just different things for you guys to consider. All right, so moving right along, make a packing list and adhere to it. So make sure that you're taking that extra PPE, personal protective equipment, that you're prepared, bringing any medications that you might need. What does healthcare look like at your destination? So you may have health insurance. That might mean bupkis if you're going outside of the country. Are you okay going somewhere where the nearest hospital is maybe 40 minutes away and you need cash just to even be seen? Not every country is like the United States, where we'll ask you if you got your health insurance, but usually they try to keep you alive. Not every country is like that. I've heard stories of people being told, okay, that'll be like $1,000 or $5,000 for you to even be admitted. So these are just some things that you want to keep in mind. Nobody wants to go somewhere, then get sick, and then it's going to be difficult to get that care and attention that you need. All right, so with that, insurance, trip protection, or vacation protection. So in booking your trip, you want to make sure that you're booking something that's offering you as much flexibility as possible. Excuse me. So what do I mean by that? So I booked a cruise, and I think I was supposed to be going on that cruise either September or October of this year. Well, I done pushed it back to 2022 at this point. And guess what? I was able to do it, but then I think I had to pay like a $50 change fee, which was kind of funky. Had I waited a little bit longer, I would have been able to change it without any type of penalty, because the cruise line industry came back and said that they were pushing off until I think we're at the end of October, and then they'll come up with a new decision. But I just went ahead and pushed it out to 2022. Imagine putting out thousands of dollars for a trip and being told that there was no flexibility, that you're only getting a credit, that you can push it out or change it, but they're only pushing it out for 6 months to a year. So whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you're aware of how much flexibility do you have in booking your next vacation or stay. And for the most part, between the airlines, resorts, hotels, a lot of them have been pretty flexible. Some people may get upset and say, oh yeah, well, they only gave me a credit. I think, for something that was a pandemic that nobody was expecting, and people just may not even have the money to potentially reimburse 100% everyone that's out there. So if I'm able to push it back, if I'm given some sort of flexibility, that works for me. Once again, it's up to how flexible you are. But once again, just something else that you do want to keep in mind. What are your cancellation policies? What are your cancellation changes, things of that nature? What are your policies? And then insurance. So insurance, the pandemic was not being covered by insurance. And if it was, please tell me which insurance plan you had, because I need to know. But something unforeseen, usually any type of act of God, anything above and beyond man's control, usually isn't covered. So going forward, as you're making plans, yes, you're looking for that flexibility, but if before you weren't looking to get vacation protection or insurance, that's something that you may want to think about. I always recommend it. I can't force my clients to take it, but I do recommend it, because you just never know what's going to happen. So with that, people may ask, well, is there a difference? Yes. So you have insurance, and then you'll have vacation protection. Insurance is just like really any other type of insurance. You've got an insurance carrier that will underwrite an insurance plan for you. And with that, it usually covers trip interruption. You may have some trip protection, and then you're also going to have medical coverage oftentimes. And it depends on what level. A lot of companies have different levels. So that's something that you may want to consider. And I'm not going to tell you which carrier or which insurance line is covering it, but I just wanted to read this to you as an example where COVID wasn't covered. Now that it is foreseeable and it's among us, some of them are starting to incorporate it under their coverage. So claims due to known, foreseeable, or expected events, epidemics, government prohibitions, warnings, or travel advisories, or fear of travel are generally not covered. And coverage can vary by state. However, until further notice, although not covered under most plans, we are currently accommodating claims for under emergency medical care benefit. So this is a particular plan or specific part of the insurance that they're offering. Emergency medical care for a customer who becomes ill with COVID-19 while on their trip, and under trip cancellation or trip interruption. So these are the different portions of what they cover under insurance. Trip cancellation and trip interruption if a customer becomes ill with COVID-19 either before or during their trip. So that is a little reassuring. You can quarantine, you can be safe, you can go down there, but things happen, as we are seeing and as things are unfolding in the world. So once again, you may want to consider getting either insurance or vacation protection. So what's vacation protection? It's usually that it's giving you some sort of credit against what you've already paid out for your vacation. A lot of times that may look like a credit of some kind. So once again, you may not be able to get your money back, but you will have a credit in order to apply towards a future trip. And that's usually sold by a supplier, not an independent insurance agency. So just a couple of things to think about. Do I want insurance? Should I get vacation protection? Am I a high risk person where if I do travel, I may want that additional insurance or peace of mind if something were to happen to me or I become ill? And once again, things can happen at any point in time. So it's not just COVID related. It could be, outside of COVID. These are just some things that you should consider. So I hope that was informative. That's pretty much all I have, unless anybody else has some questions for me out there. And if not, I just want to throw something else out there for anybody that joined me, that you enjoyed the show today. If you know of any other topics that you would want me to cover here at Irgo Travel, feel free to email them to me, and you can send it, I guess, either here along the stream, or even better, email me at info, and that's info at irgotravel.com. Or just hit me up on Facebook. I do have an Irgo Travel page, and I do recommend that you join the GPS group. We've got some exciting changes and new stuff coming out, or subscribe. So if you go to the website at www.irgotravel.com and subscribe, you will get signed up or put on our list for a newsletter that comes out usually on a quarterly basis. I do have one coming out this week. And it'll always be packed with helpful tips, insights, sneak peeks at some upcoming trips that we'll be planning. And with that, if anyone is interested in getting this cute Travel Diva t-shirt, you can make it your own, cut off the shoulders, make it look cute, do a little side shoulder thing going on. I have it to the first person that emails me at info@irgotravel.com. Just let me know that you were here, that you waved at me, and that's it. So I'm going to check my feed. I don't think I have any comments in here. So with that, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and remember to plan, pack, and go with Irgo Travel, and just consider some things before you plan your next vacation. If you want to make it easier, reach out to me and I can help plan for you. Take care and have a good night, and be safe.